And now we see Alice in the closet where we always knew she belonged.
What?
Keep working. Alice is putting down paper around the edges of the rooms first, and then there will be plastic that goes over that to protect from paint. We're about to spray the paint into the house. Oh,
This really cool thing. Watch this.
You're doing it backwards. That's cool. That's fine.
Ooh.
There's no super scientific thing. We're just protecting the doors with plastic and the windows and the floors and anything else that needs protected from paint overspray is protected. We're not quite done with this room, but it's getting there. And then we'll just spray the whole house at once. It shouldn't take very long. And there we go. I just have to do that about 50 more times. It's paint day, which is really cool and exciting. Here's the paint. We chose I think it's a nice color. My buddy lent me his brand new paint sprayer. He hasn't even used it yet. So I'm kind of the guinea pig here. I'll just go over this real quick. There's a lot of really good videos on these specific sprayers, the Graco Magnum series. And this one happens to be the biggest and baddest of them. The paint gets sucked up through this filter here. This little hose goes in another bucket, which I'll put right here. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna get messy today. You know, I used to be an actually pretty good painter when I lived in Phoenix. I did this professionally, but it was a long time ago. Here goes. I don't know what I expected. As easy as it could have been. Prime time. Get it? Ow! I'm gonna turn the machine on, and we're gonna prime this thing. I think it's loud. Oh, there it is. So now I flip this up, and now it will run through the hose, and I'm going to practice on this wall to get the pressures and the spray fan right. The reason I'm choosing this wall instead of like a piece of cardboard like I should is because this wall is just behind the cabinets, and I can screw it up as much as I want. That just works. It just worked really well. So okay, let's get to work. I'm gonna teach Danny what I know about painting. Don't be afraid when you're laying paint down to make it too thin. So like this is the first coat.
Okay.
Right? You can still see the drywall and stuff. It's fine. It's too thin, but it's not really too thin. We'll just go over it again and again and again until it's covered. The gun has a swivel, but that doesn't mean you should swivel it all the time.
Okay.
So if you're going against a wall, here's the wall, keep the gun as parallel as possible, and then down, down, right? And as far as you can comfortably reach from side to side. You don't need to like run along the wall. And it's a really dynamic movement. It looks kind of, it looks normal, but it feels silly because you're squatting. You're coming down, your whole body's kind of moving.
This is helpful because I was going to do the exact opposite of everything you just said.
And then there's another thing. This sprays out in a fan.
Okay.
And I don't know, this one I think is an 8-inch fan. And when you lay it on the wall, it's about yay thick, yay wide.
All right.
Then you come down and you cut that in half. See that?
I see it.
Okay, stop. Oftentimes when people start, they hold it, pull the trigger and it sits there for a second. See how this gobbed up right here?
Yep.
So I'm gonna finish mine, but I'm gonna show you when I start spraying,
Uh-huh.
I'm already moving.
Okay.
It's kind of subtle, you can't really tell, but. Now there's nowhere for it to gob up in one spot. Looks good, baby.
All right.
Keep going.
So for our walls, the color we ended up going with was called Alpaca Blanket.
Ooh.
Yes, it's very light and it's kind of green and gold and
I say
Gray.
brown, kind of?
initially I was going to just roll everything. I rolled Evelyn's room by hand and it took me all day to do one room. And it ended up using about 2.5 gallons of paint. It used like half of a 5-gallon bucket. We borrowed a sprayer from our friend and we were able to get our entire great room with much less paint. It took a lot less paint, but we had to prep where we had to put plastic everywhere because the little droplets of paint kind of filter in the air and they end up everywhere. Okay, so which is better, hand rolling or spraying? So I think it kind of depends on your goals. On the one hand, if you're gonna hand roll, it's gonna take more time, but it's gonna take less preparation. And it's not gonna get paint quite as everywhere. So if I were to hand roll, it would probably be in like a finished room that has a bunch of furniture that I'd have to cover. On the other hand, if you're gonna spray paint, the prep is gonna take a lot longer. But if you don't have anything on the ground, it's just prepping the ground and the windows and the doors. So a new construction would be really good for spray painting if you're spray painting the whole house. Spraying took us no time at all. It took us the same amount of time to spray the entire house as it did for me to hand roll that one room. Now that we've sprayed our whole house, there's definitely some things I would have done differently. So the biggest one would be I would wear a mask while painting.
So as I was spraying, it just created a fog of paint. What we ended up doing is having to open windows and doors in rooms that we weren't painting. That helped a lot, but I still breathed in so much paint.
The other thing is, like, I was wearing my glasses and so I got a bunch of tiny paint spatters, but I should have been wearing like actual eye protection.
Tyvek suits are not overrated. If you go to the big box store, you can see those white painter's suits in the painting section. I would get them 2 days later and I'm still peeling off paint off my skin and stuff. So just wear it all. There's no shame in wearing protective gear.
And like Greg said, there's these tiny droplets of paint all in the air. And if you're painting like with a hand rolling, like something drops in your hair, like it's very obvious and you can like kind of work at it. But with the tiny droplets everywhere, like my whole hair was just sticky.
A mess.
We got it all done. We were very motivated, but we weren't the healthiest. Don't do that.
Good job painting. We did it in a day.